What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the 2025 Nissan Sentra. This is an SR finished in Atlantic Gray, has the two tones to get the black on the roof. MSRP is around $29,000. Big shout out to Faux Nissan of Statesville for providing this new Sentra for today's video. Take a look at their website, linked down below. Underneath the hood of the 2025 Nissan Sentra SR, you're going to find a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. This has 149 horsepower with 146 pound-feet of torque. It does have a CVT for the transmission. It's also front-wheel drive. Curb weight is around 3,000 pounds and it runs on a 12.4 gallon fuel tank, so you can expect 30 miles per gallon in the city with 40 out on the highway. The overall length is 182.9 inches with a wheelbase at 106.6. Width is 71.5 and height is 57 inches. Taking a look at the exterior styling for the 2025 Nissan Sentra, this is a pretty sporty looking compact affordable car. You got a nice design on the headlights with some chrome trim as well as a dark housing. They have a nice sharp line towards the center that points to the center grille. A little bit of chrome trim for the outside of the grille with some gloss black throughout the mesh. Got your Nissan badge right in the center along with the SR logo on the side. Then you can see some openings throughout the center. A little bit of a grille in the lower section as well with just a little bit more black. And then some sharp trim pieces on the farthest side. Definitely a pretty sporty looking car from the front. Looks a bit more large compared to how small this car actually is. So it has a really good road presence, I'd say, from the front view. Got a sharp body line for the side part of the hoods that just add to that aggressive style. I really can't complain. I like this angle from right here. Really, especially looking at these sharp lines in the upper fender that kind of fade to the hood and then blend away towards the side profile. At the side, you're going to get a nice set of 18-inch wheels with a multi-spoke design and two-tone color. Got a sharp body line throughout this front fender as well. And then the side skirt is pretty aggressive and sporty. Another sharp body line down below that with body color on the door handles and black on the mirrors. You got the camera underneath the mirror and then an LED turn signal. I really like the blacked out design for the whole roof section. Really gives it a sporty look, especially with the chrome trim piece cutting through the entire side profile. And then in back, it definitely makes it look like the roof line is floating above the car. Really sharp lines for the rear fenders as well. And then in back, the sharp lines cut their way into the trunk, leading to the nice body colored lip spoiler. We got our badging on the far right side as well as the left side. And then a set of red taillights with a nice design on the housing. In the rear bumper, we have some more trim. Your exhaust pipe is sticking out on the left side. There's parking sensors in back as well. Sporty look for the rear diffuser. Nissan logo right in the center. And overall, the rear end design comes together nice to fit with the rest of the design of this car. Taking a look at the key fob, you're going to get remote start, lock, unlock, trunk release, and your panic button. If I go ahead and lock the car, you can just grab the door handle, press the button, and we can automatically unlock it. You're going to get a nice black interior with a synthetic leather material all around, as well as contrast stitching. On the door panel, there is some soft touch up above, and you can see how we have more of this vinyl material throughout the center with contrast stitching. Release handle, all of your controls up above with this plastic carbon fiber look material as well. Grab handle and padding with more stitching, and then storage down below and a Bose audio system. This does get power controls on the driver's seat, and then you got the smooth leather material along with the contrast stitching. Pretty nice design. You can see some more stitching throughout the center, and then a nice orange stripe up above that as well. Spinning around, you got a cool looking flat bottom design on the steering wheel with more of the stitching, black leather, as well as some silver trim. And then now inside the 2025 Sentra SR, keep my foot on the brake. I can go ahead and fire it up. Multimedia screen as well as the center infotainment screen will turn on. You're going to get analog tach and speedometer, and then for the center you are able to scroll through this. So if I go left and right, you can see all sorts of different settings within the car, and then continuing over, there's a few more things. Very similar to what you're used to on many other Nissans. So nice to see a little bit of technology in this car as well, and then those controls are right here. On the left side, you're going to get some Bluetooth and audio, and then cruise control over on the right with distance pacing. For the right stalk, you're going to get all the windshield wiper controls, turn signals over on the left with your headlights, and then down below all that, you can see our eco icon, interior dimming, and then you have the trunk release. You have one of your air vents, that plastic material with the carbon look, along with some more of that contrast stitching throughout the dashboard. More of this soft touch material, kind of a faux material for the stitching. And then taking a look at the center multimedia screen, again, very similar to everything you're used to on modern Nissans. We also have some shortcuts down below to make it really easy. Top-down view as well, which is a really good look. There's our front view camera, and then if I go in reverse, you can see the backup camera popping up. So pretty cool to see that for sure. Very simple screen overall, nothing really all too fancy. We have 3 air vents right in the center as well. You have your hazard control, and then down below we have heated seats and steering wheel, temperature control with the dual zone. You can easily adjust everything. Fan speed right in the center, different zones. And then on the right side we have our sync and AC. Down below that, you're going to get auto start stop. You can see your different plugs, extra storage, more of this carbon look, and then cup holders in the center. For the shifter, you have more of the stitching down into a low range, and then extra storage in the center with a lot of this contrast stitching all throughout it. For the center, we have some nice padding, and then a pretty good sized box in the center. And then over on the glove box, you have a pretty large bucket as expected. One last look at the interior, definitely a pretty roomy car overall with a decent use of material and style for the price point. Not too bad. Up above, we have a light colored headliner, manual sunroof up here with a manual sunshade, and then you can see the controls for all that, dome lights, a little bit of a sunglass holder, and a nice basic mirror. Onto the back seat space. If I grab the door handle and open it up, door panel's finished off similar to the front, a little bit harder plastics back here, and then you can see we have that same vinyl material with all the stitching, the plastic design as well. Seats in back, same materials as well. This can seat 3 people, headrests are all fixed. And then for the center, we can pull this down. You're gonna get a nice armrest along with 2 cup holders. And then up in front, there's storage behind that seat as well as just 1 USB port. And then we can pop these tabs real quick and fold these seats down for better access into the back. Sitting in the back seat with the Nissan Sentra, so I'm 5'11". I have the driver's seat set at my height as well. I have about 1 inch of legroom, and the seat actually does cradle me pretty nicely, so not too bad back here. My head doesn't quite touch the ceiling, so there's actually a good amount of space. Good armrests on the left and right side, and the recline angle is pretty decent as well. So honestly, for a compact car, this back seat is actually pretty useful. I think 2 grown-ups could actually sit back here, especially if you slouch a little bit. I could see being back here for a decent road trip. So not a bad option if you're on a budget and want something with decent space. For the cargo space, there's going to be an electronic button right underneath the Nissan logo. We can manually pop the trunk. So there's a pretty decent amount of spacing here, nice and wide with a very flat load floor. And then even underneath the carpet, you do get a spare tire. Now, after manually folding down these seats, you can get a better idea of how large the space can be in the Nissan Sentra. They're going to fold nearly flat and give you a pretty large opening into the trunk to make this a very useful car for cargo along with people. So setting off now in the Nissan Sentra. Just giving it half throttle. I like how the RPM stay below 5,000. To be honest, some of the competition like the Toyota Corolla, I feel like it revs a lot higher. So nice to see this CVT doing a better job at managing the revs to where you don't have to just redline it all the time. So getting my bearings now. Pretty good visibility overall, as you can tell, really easy to see around the front. Mirrors all do a good job. You know, the center mirror gives you a good view. No real blind spots at all. Honestly, it's a really easy car to see around. Now, at my height, 5'11", I do sit here as my legs, I feel, are a little bit long. So I feel like that is my one complaint with the Sentra over the competition. It just seems like if you have longer legs, this might be a bit cramped. I don't see the same issue in a Civic or the Toyota Corolla. So that's probably my one complaint just for my height. Aside from that, this thing's pretty peppy for what it is. Does not have a lot of power, but you know, the CVT kind of manages the power to where it gets up to speed quickly and efficiently, and you're not just redlining it and pressing the gas to the floor. I'm literally half throttling it, just kind of babying this, driving it very conservatively, and yet it's zippy and snappy. The seat comfort is pretty decent overall. They're a little on the stiff side comparing it to other cars in this class, but it's an easy car to drive, and I like how the steering actually gives you feedback. Normally, inexpensive economy cars like this are just generic, but this steering actually feels really good and kind of tight, like a higher end car. So that's something that I'm impressed with this little Sentra. Ride quality, things like that. You hear the road a little bit. You know, we're only going 45 on kind of a bad road, but it's not really all too bad. It seems pretty decently comfortable and refined for what it is. Again, this is an inexpensive car. It's not going to be a BMW, but it rides pretty good. The suspension does absorb bumps really well as well. So it seems like it isn't really a bad option at all. It seems to have some good features to it. It's really easy to use all the information on the interior. I wouldn't say it's really leaps and bounds amazing comparing it to others. It's really simple, pretty on par, I guess, with a Corolla, just given it's just pretty simple, old school. I do like the turning radius along with the camera system. I mean, to have a 360 camera view in this car is actually pretty surprising, and those sensors. So from here, I can really easily tell where everything is. And before, I actually did this without doing an extra turn. So you can do a normal 3-point turn in a 2-wide lane. So nice to see this is very maneuverable. It also does feel like an open interior, so it doesn't really feel all that cramped aside from just my legs. I really want to scoot this back farther, but then I can't reach the steering wheel, and that is as far back as we can go. So there is my one complaint, just my legs are, I think, too long for this particular car. But overall fundamental driving experience, it's about what you would expect. It seems pretty comfortable overall, pretty peppy, and it doesn't seem like you have to stress the vehicle to do what you need to do and just drive it pretty comfortably and get good gas mileage at the same time. So my honest thoughts now with the Nissan Sentra. So this isn't the cheapest of the basic sedans out there, but it is close to it. You know, this is kind of the generic, every car company has a car that's this class. And you know, the Sentra is a competitive car in a competitive market filled with Corolla, Civics, and Elantras. So those are probably the best 3 competitors to this car. Like I said, my only, I think, real complaint is my height. You know, I think I'm 5'11". My legs aren't crazy long, I don't think, but this is definitely too cramped for me. I need to have my seat slid farther back to feel more comfortable in the leg department, but then I feel like I'm a little bit too far away from the steering wheel. So that's my one complaint. Somehow the Honda and the Toyota do it a little bit better. Aside from that, though, I think it's a pretty nice car overall. I think it really does look sporty, has a really cool look on the outside, and it is actually pretty spacious and roomy on the inside as well. Driving it's not bad. It's got a pretty peppy engine. It's not a fast car, obviously. You know, this isn't anything too crazy, but it's peppy enough. The transmission, while not everybody likes a CVT, everything in this class has a CVT for the most part. So with this car, you know, you're kind of getting what you would expect when you look at the class in general. It's an easy car to maneuver. It's got enough technology. While the technology, I'd say, does look a little on the old side, Nissan really hasn't innovated all too much in the last several generations even. I made it that time for the 3-point turn. So there's nothing really new when you're buying a new Nissan. That is probably one of their biggest issues as a brand right now. There's nothing innovative in their products, but they are pretty affordable. However, at this category, this is right on par with a Civic Sport, a Corolla SE, which I've recently filmed multiples of those and done comparisons and everything. So this is competitively priced, but is it competitive enough for what it has to offer? I feel like it's pretty much on par with those cars, giving you the same kind of aspect. It does give you a very simple interior to where it's not difficult to get used to. And I think maybe the biggest selling factor with the Sentra, the styling is one of them. I think it looks really good. I think it has a really unique style that makes it feel really cool on the outside. It's got a sporty interior with the use of materials. I think this interior looks better than the Corollas. I think the Civic might be my favorite interior. However, I do like the contrasts all over it. The fact that I am sitting in the fake leather seats versus just fabric. So there is some nicer aspects with this than the Corolla and the Civic, actually. And then one last acceleration, the eco mode in it definitely makes it a bit more sluggish. But normal mode, you know, it gets up to speed. You can hear the engine a little bit. It's nothing impressive to listen to. But even though it's a CVT, it gives you the power nicely, and it kind of shifts. It has like shift logic to it in some way with how they programmed it, to where it kind of feels like a normal transmission with gears. So I think that's also another compelling factor with the Sentra to give it a leg up on the competition. Is it a very competitive market? This car, absolutely. There's a lot to offer with all the different cars that are competing with this. I don't think one really outshines the rest. They're all pretty similar. It's really hard at this price point for an affordable car to be above and beyond. So comment below, would you buy this over the competition? Let me know in the comment section below. But there is the 2025 Nissan Sentra SR. This one's basically fully loaded, just under the $30,000 mark. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content to come. And then a big shout out once again to Flo Nissan of Statesville for providing this car for today's video. Check out their website, linked down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.